Katsuki was on him in seconds, gripping his shoulders hard enough to bruise. "Do that again, asterisk," he demanded, eyes wild. "I didn't asterisk mean to." "Bullshit." Katsuki shook him once sharp. "That was asterisk mine, but..." He flexed his fingers, watching sparks dance. "Cleaner, stronger." His grin was all teeth. "Your shitty quirk doesn't just break things, moron. It fixes asterisk them." Izuku's breath hitched. The realization hit like one of Katsuki's explosions. All these years struggling to control the kinetic chaos, and he'd never once considered. A soda can asterisk pinged asterisk off his head. "Focus," Katsuki growled, already packing like a caged tiger. "We're testing this until you puke." The moon rose over Dagaba Beach, but the gold outshone it. Izuku sagged against the charred remains of a fishing boat, watching blood trickle between his fingers where his grip had burned through his gloves. Every muscle screamed, some from exertion, others from the phantom echoes of Katsuki's detonations reverberating through his bones. The air reeked of molten plastic and spent fireworks, their latest experiment having turned a microwave into shrapnel confetti. 3 meters away, Katsuki knelt in the sand, shoulders heaving. His forearms were a grotesque patchwork of blisters and raw flesh, the price of channeling Izuku's kinetic surge 12 times in 2 hours. Yet when he lifted his head, his grin was feral in the flickering light of the dumpster fire they'd accidentally ignited. "Again!" he croaked. His voice cracked like the skin on his palms. Izuku's stomach twisted. "Kaken, you're..." "Don't." Katsuki spat rust-colored phlegm onto the sand. "We asterisk no asterisk, it works now." He flexed blackened fingers, wincing as fresh blood welled up. "Your golden bullshit doesn't just juice up objects. He trailed off, eyebrows knitting together like he was solving a puzzle mid-battle. "It optimizes asterisk quirks." The dumpster fire popped, sending embers spiraling into the salt-stained air. Izuku stared at his own trembling hands. Hadn't he felt it? That split second when Katsuki's explosions clicked into perfect alignment, brutal efficiency without wasted energy. Like tuning a radio to crystal clarity. Katsuki staggered upright, kicking aside a warped bicycle frame. "Tomorrow," he rasped, "we're hitting the junkyard." Something warm bloomed in Izuku's chest, not quirk energy, but the terrifying realization that they'd just scratched the surface of something monumental. His vision swam. The world tilted. Strong hands caught him before he face-planted into broken glass. "Dramatic bastard," Katsuki muttered, hauling him onto bony shoulders. The contact sent fresh gold sparks skittering across their synchronized scrapes, their disastrous, glorious first symphony. They'd walk home limping, they'd lie about the burns, and in the morning, they'd rewrite physics all over again. Katsuki's palms throbbed like they'd been flayed open and stuffed with lit coals. He clenched his teeth so hard his jaw ached, but the whimper slipped out anyway when his mother yanked his wrist under the faucet, the 3rd time tonight. Cold water hit raw flesh, and his vision whited out. "You stupid boy," Mitsuki snarled, scrubbing at the weeping blisters with enough force to make the tendons in his forearm jump. "What part of asterisk stop asterisk didn't penetrate that thick skull?" "Fuck asterisk off," Katsuki tried to wrench free, but his knees buckled. He caught himself on the edge of the sink, trembling violently. The reflection staring back was ghastly, lips peeled in a snarl, sweat-slick bangs plastered to flushed cheeks. His hands looked like overcooked meat. Mitsuki's grip gentled barely. She pressed a damp washcloth to the worst of the burns, her own fingers shaking now. "Your quirk doctor warned you about overuse before your sweat glands fully developed," she muttered, more to herself than him. The bathroom smelled like antiseptic and betrayal. Down the hall, Auntie and Co.'s hushed voice filtered through the walls. Asterisk fever spiked again asterisk, followed by Izuku's weak cough. Katsuki's stomach twisted. The idiot had collapsed halfway home, gold flickering under his eyelids like dying embers. Mitsuki followed his gaze. Her sigh was heavy enough to sink ships. "You're both reckless morons." She wrapped his hands in gauze with surprising tenderness, the bandages stark white against his angry skin. "But your asterisk is asterisk reckless moron, so act like it." Katsuki glared at his mummified hands. The pain was distant now, buried under something heavier. He'd seen the way Izuku's veins glowed right before he passed out, gold spider webbing under pale skin like cracked porcelain. The bathroom door creaked open. Masaru hovered with a tray steaming miso soup, ice packs, 2 fever reducers. Katsuki bared his teeth. He needs them more. Mitsuki smacked the back of his head. You need to heal. But when he stubbornly turned toward Izuku's room, she didn't stop him. The hallway stretched too long. Katsuki's bare feet left faint bloody prints on the tatami. Inside, Izuku shivered under 3 blankets, his curls damp with sweat. The gold hadn't faded. It pulsed weakly in his fingertips, reacting to Katsuki's presence like a dying fire fed oxygen. Inko pressed a cool cloth to his forehead. Her smile wobbled when she noticed Katsuki. He'll be okay, she whispered. Katsuki's bandaged hands curled into useless fists. He knew a lie when he heard one. 10 minutes earlier, Izuku had clawed his way back to consciousness through a haze of gold and agony. His skull pulsed like someone had replaced his brain with molten lead. The ceiling above him swam in and out of focus. First the familiar cracks of his bedroom, then sudden blinding streaks of light that weren't really there. He tried to lift his hand to shield his eyes. His arm refused to obey. Don't you dare move. His mother's voice cracked like ice underfoot. Her small hands pressed him back into the mattress with surprising strength. When he blinked up at her, her face wavered between fury and raw terror, her lips pressed so tight they'd gone pale. Your fever nearly cooked you alive. Do you understand? The doctor said. She choked on the words, fingers digging into his shoulders. You stop when your nose bleeds. You stop when your gloves burn through. Not when your veins start. A wet splatter hit Izuku's collarbone. He realized belatedly that she was crying, the gold still flickering under his skin reflected in her tears. I'm sorry, he whispered. His tongue felt too big for his mouth. The apology wasn't just for the burns, it was for every hospital bill, every panicked midnight call, every time she'd found him passed out in the park at dawn with his notebooks scattered around him like a madman's manifesto. Inko wiped her face with her sleeve. No more training for a week, she said, voice steadier now. And when you go back, she leaned down until their foreheads touched, her breath warm and shaky against his cheeks. You come home whole. Izuku nodded, or tried to. The movement sent fresh knives stabbing behind his eyes. He whimpered before he could stop himself. Inko smoothed his hair back, her touch gentler now. Katsuki will be here soon, she murmured. Try not to give him a heart attack. The door clicked shut behind her. Izuku stared at the ceiling, counting his breaths until they stopped hitching. He flexed his fingers, just once, and watched the gold sputter weakly. The fear settled deeper than the pain. What if next time it wasn't just a fever? What if next time the gold didn't fade? Footsteps pounded down the hall. Izuku barely had time to brace before the door slammed open. And there was Katsuki, gauze-wrapped hands and all, looking at him like he was the one who'd nearly died. Izuku tried to smile. Missed me. Katsuki's answering snarl rattled the window pane. You're grounded. Izuku blinked. From what? Existing asterisk. Katsuki stalked forward, kicking the futon aside to slump onto the edge of the bed. Izuku blinked. The gold under his skin pulsed weakly in response to Katsuki's proximity, like iron filings drawn to a magnet. Katsuki exhaled sharply through his nose, half a laugh, half a sob, before grabbing Izuku's wrist with surprising gentleness. His bandaged fingers barely brushed the glowing veins. You scared the shit out of me. His voice was gravel and glass. Izuku swallowed hard. Katsuki's grip tightened. We're not, he stopped, jaw working like the words physically hurt him. Not doing that again, not until you can handle it. The admission tasted like defeat. Katsuki Bakugo never backed down from a challenge, but the tremble in his hands betrayed him, half pain, half residual terror. The silence stretched. Cicadas screamed outside the window. Then Katsuki's forehead thunked against Izuku's shoulder, his version of an apology. Your quirks, he huffed, frustrated. More, not just boosting. Yesterday, he lifted his head, eyes burning. When you grabbed that microwave, for half a second I felt it asterisk. Like, his fingers flexed. Like you reached inside my skull and rewired my quirk. Izuku's breath hitched. He had asterisk felt something, a fleeting connection deeper than kinetic energy, like tuning a radio to perfect clarity. Katsuki's smirk was razor-thin. Guess you're not totally useless. Izuku laughed weakly, then winced as the motion jarred his aching ribs. Katsuki's expression darkened. He reached for the painkillers on the nightstand, muttering curses under his breath. The packaging crinkled violently in his bandaged grip. Izuku watched gold flicker between his own fingers. Unique, dangerous, and now potentially asterisk evolutionary. Katsuki caught his wrist again, not to drag him anywhere this time, just to hold on. His palms were still warm even through the gauze. Next time, he growled, we start smaller. Izuku smiled. 7 years later. The sludge villain's eyes bulged when Izuku's sneakers glowed midair, not with panic, but with purpose. Golden energy spiderwebbed up his calves as he twisted, the kinetic charge from every punch he'd absorbed during lunchtime detention now coiling tight in his hamstrings. The villain's gelatinous fist swung wide, splattering against the tunnel wall where Izuku's head asterisk should asterisk have been. Too slow. Izuku's kick connected with a asterisk crunch of displaced sludge, his momentum flaring gold-bright as the stored energy released in one brutal cascade. The villain asterisk splattered asterisk like overripe fruit, chunks of him raining against the brickwork. Izuku landed in a crouch, fingers brushing the pavement, steady, controlled, as residual energy dissipated in harmless amber wisps. Textbook execution. Katsuki would have been proud. Not bad, kid. The sludge reconstituted with a wet schlup asterisk, voice bubbling with grudging respect. But his form surged asterisk, pseudopods lashing out faster than Izuku could track. One slimy tendril wrapped around his ankle, yanking hard enough to send him skidding chin first across concrete. The taste of copper flooded his mouth. Asterisk heroes don't fight alone. Izuku spat blood, rolling onto his back just as the villain loomed overhead. Gold flickered under his skin, not from panic but calculation. 7 years of notebooks and split knuckles had taught him this. Kinetic energy wasn't just about force. It was about asterisk timing. He let the villain's descending fist asterisk almost connect, felt the air pressure ripple his hair, then pushed. The golden explosion blew them apart. Izuku's back hit the tunnel wall hard enough to crack brick, but he'd redirected enough energy to send the villain splattering into the opposite side. His ears rang. His ribs ached. And somewhere behind the sludge villain's staggered groans, footsteps asterisk pounded closer, too heavy to be Katsuki, too frantic to be. Fear not, citizen. All Might's voice shook the tunnel like thunder. 4 a.m. Izuku's vision swam. The last thing he saw before passing out was the sludge villain's horrified face, backlit by the sun itself. Not bad for a solo act. All Might's voice boomed through the tunnel still, but now Izuku caught the exhaustion under it, the way his smile strained at the edges as he scooped up the last globules of sludge with a plastic convenience store spoon. The symbol of peace looked smaller up close, or maybe that was the concussion. Izuku pushed himself up on shaking arms. His gloves were shredded, gold energy flickering weakly where his knuckles had split open. All Might, he croaked, then louder. All Might can. The hero paused mid-bottle capping. One blue eye flicked to him, assessing. Izuku's mouth moved before his brain caught up. Can someone with a weak quirk, with asterisk this asterisk quirk? He held up his trembling, glowing hand. The gold pulsed once, feebly. Can they stand on the front lines like you? All Might's brow furrowed. For one terrible second, Izuku thought he'd laugh.